Hey everybody, this is Jason with Parallel Reality coming back with you here today with an article from Real Clear Education, which I believe is a spinoff of the Real Clear Politics site, which you should definitely go check out. It's basically because it's bipartisan. They have articles linked there from basically everywhere. So it doesn't pick sides or anything, which is good. That's a good thing. So Real Clear Education, my mom sent this to me, so we're going to check this out. It's from May 18th, so this is going back a few months from when I'm recording this. This is late September of 2023 at this point. And it's pretty alarming headline. It says, why is the Chinese Communist Party educating children in American classrooms? Yes. Why is that happening? Let's go through this. It says on May 8th, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signed into law 3 bills to counteract the malign influence of the Chinese Communist Party in the state of Florida. One of the bills, he said, would help stop CCP influence in our education system from grade school to grad school, and such efforts cannot come soon enough. Yeah, why are they doing this, and why was this even allowed, and who let this in? Because you had to kind of know. It says, like Mao masquerading as Mr. Rogers, the Chinese Communist Party quietly continues to use Confucius classrooms, and I've heard of the Confucius Institute. So they continue to use Confucius classrooms to influence American kids that it is neighborly and normal. It is most certainly not. It says, but the CCP is no Mr. Rogers. More like Satan, but okay. It says the authoritarian regime operating Uyghur concentration camps in Xinjiang and facilitating the flow of fentanyl into the United States has sent communist trained and funded teachers to a neighborhood school near you. That's wonderful. It says Beijing aims to shape the minds of American kids through hundreds of Confucius classrooms, part of a personalized teacher to student influence campaign focused on shaping how children view the Chinese government under the benevolent guise of providing cultural, historical, and Chinese language programming. That's, well, using the word programming there sounds very much like indoctrination, which is what this is anyway. It says Confucius classrooms represent the lesser known K-12 affiliates of the now widely and rightly stigmatized Confucius Institutes. Yeah, I'm glad we got on top of those guys and basically said those are going to be gone now. I think someone somewhere, it wasn't necessarily just DeSantis, but they said like those can't be here because they're bad. It says both programs are associated with China's United Front Work Department, responsible for ideological influence and monitoring operations abroad. Liu Yandong, former vice president of the PRC and once head of the UFWD, oversaw the Confucius program and later served as chair of Hanban, a bureau of Beijing's Ministry of Education, now rebranded as the Center for Language Exchange and Cooperation. CLEC oversees the classrooms, administering funding and deploying trained teachers. By 2019, the CCP had established 518 Confucius classrooms in the United States. That's a lot. This is according to a staff report by the Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Permanent Subcommittee on Investigations. That's a hell of a name. But 518 school classrooms may not seem like a lot because there's a crap ton of schools in this country, but that's a lot. One would be too much. 518 is abominably large. Those Confucius classrooms operate in public and private schools across the U.S., such as Simpson County Public Schools in Kentucky, St. Mary's School in Oregon, Chicago Public Schools. Can't say I'm surprised about that one, given that that's not my area, but Chicago is 40 miles to the southwest of where I am, and the Garrison Forest School in Maryland. The Yu Ying School, located in the nation's capital, still proudly features its designation as Confucius Classroom of the Year on its website. Because believe it or not, the United States lacks a full grasp of how many of its thousands of elementary, middle, and high schools currently house Confucius classrooms. So it's probably a lot more than 518, I'm guessing. So it says, in the last century, the U.S. did not allow the Soviet Union, Nazi Germany, or Imperial Japan a foothold in the American educational system, testified the National Association of Scholars Ian Oxnevad before the U.S.-China Economic and Security Commission in March. Why would we permit the Chinese Communist Party to gain such influence? Yes, that's an excellent question. It says the U.S. finds itself in the midst of a generational conflict with China, a new Cold War characterized by a protracted ideological clash of democratic and communist worldviews. Yeah, ours is better. Says the United States has given its adversary in this competition direct access to children and has allowed it to infiltrate the education system in ways that undermine American sovereignty. The Chinese government controls nearly every aspect of Confucius Institutes and affiliated Confucius classrooms at U.S. schools, according to the Senate staff report. The CCP lures schools with funding, staffing, and materials, then seizes control with contracts stipulating that schools comply with Chinese as well as U.S. law and limit public disclosure. School officials often interview teaching candidates culled from CCP curated pools of applicants whom the CCP demands conscientiously safeguard national interests and report to the Chinese embassy within 1 month of the arrival in the United States, according to the Senate report. Yeah, This is sounding worse and worse as I'm going on here. It says this subversion and relinquishment of American sovereignty in K-12 Confucius classrooms plays a key role in China's soft power influence campaign and has ongoing national security implications. Yeah, that's the worst possible thing. Says China's authoritarian government works hard to dampen any criticism of the CCP. Mick Zais, former Deputy Secretary of Education, and Dan Curl, former Deputy Undersecretary of Education, wrote in a 2021 article. Reaching children with colorful, positive past messages about China is a well worn propaganda tactic. Of course it is. So, what's to be done? Yes, I would like to see what needs to be done here. So, studying Chinese language, culture, and history can be accomplished without having Chinese communist instructors teaching in their classrooms. Of course it can. I was wondering that at the beginning of the article. Like, can't we just teach that without them there? Because Chinese history is actually pretty fascinating, and I'd recommend people go read about it. I mean, it's usually not one of the top things I go to. My history stuff I like, of course, is Rome. Because this man does think about Rome every day, and the Middle Ages in England, basically from the Conqueror to the ends of the Wars of the Roses. This is that's my favorite period of time to read into. But Chinese history, Japanese history. I don't know much about Korean history, but the history over there is actually pretty fascinating, and I would recommend people look into it as well, because those are, again, fascinating periods of time. So it says education officials can increase investments in Chinese language and cultural programming. Communities should recruit teachers from Taiwan, an American partner in thriving democracy, and replace and expand language instruction and cultural exchange opportunities. The State Department could expand audits of J1 visa holders associated with Confucius classrooms. And I doubt that's going to happen now, considering the administration we have in charge, and they're kind of in league with them, so I doubt that's going to happen. Says in the past years, after auditing only two schools, good job, government. State revoked 32 visas for Confucius Institute instructors who lied about conducting research while actually teaching K-12 students. Says the Department of Education should require states to submit lists of schools that have signed contracts with foreign entities or receive CCP funding directly or via proxy. State governments should require school leaders to inform parents which schools have Confucius classrooms. Yeah, I mean, if this is an ideological enemy, of course we should be notifying parents about this. So finally, U.S. schools should consider shuttering Confucius classrooms altogether, replacing them with similar programs that have no affiliation with the Chinese Communist Party. It says Beijing wants to shape global thinking as part of Xi Jinping's Global Civilization Initiative, dubbed Civilization by the Chinese propaganda outlet Global Times. Let's not help the CCP propagandize our kids. America doesn't need Confucius classrooms. Correct. Yep. And this person looks like the person that wrote it. It was a private school teacher for 8 years, so she probably knows what she's talking about. Yeah, this is a very much a malign foreign influence here that needs to go bye-bye, and not just, thankfully, Governor DeSantis doing that in Florida, but everywhere. Otherwise, we're going to have a real problem. I mean, it's not like we don't already have a massive problem with communism in this country as it is. But if we're going to stop the flow somewhere, well, maybe it should be here. So let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. Did you actually know about this at all? Like, I heard things, but I didn't really know as much as this article went into, which still isn't a huge amount, but it's enough to get you to go, oh, shit, like, what's happening? But let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.